Now recording.
Broadcasting the most part of the fastest game in the world. Well, strap on your lids and lace them up, Rook. You're listening to the Barn Chirpers Hockey Podcast. Take a lap.
Clap it up, boys.
Clap it up, boys. Clap it up. We're right at the end of rookie camp. It's about to be the start of training camp in a couple of days. Cap, you're looking lean and mean. You've been doing your off-season workouts.
trying to get down a few sizes so I don't have to wear double XL sweaters.
Those double XL sweaters look real good and real hot, though, especially Fanatics ones. That's a joke. Just kidding. We are the Barn Chirpers Hockey Pod. Of course, if you're listening to us wherever you're watching or listening, at Barn Chirpers Pod, tweet at us, or actually we don't tweet, but Instagram. You can Instagram message us. That one really got me about chirping Fanatics, actually. I wasn't even planning that. That's funny. You can chirp us at Barn Chirpers Pod. Hey, you know the drill. Just real quick right now. It takes literally 30 seconds. Give us a subscribe, a 5-star, a quick little, hey, you guys are awesome. That'd be great. It'll literally take you like 30 seconds. Cool. Cap, I know we got to get the blood flowing here. What do you got on the agenda for us?
I mean, one of the things you always say, right at the beginning is take a lap. We got to take a lap first because it was the first ever PWHL draft.
Clap it up for that.
Yeah. And I mean, last week we talked about how the league was going to pay some of the women to be there. And first of all, that's awesome. Now, I don't know if you got to watch any of it, but it was a spectacle. They made it a big deal. I mean, I can't wait till a little bit more money, like once they've played and a little bit more money can get poured in and it can be a bigger deal. Sure. But for a first time, like a league that hasn't played a game yet, this felt like a big deal. I really appreciate what they were able to pour into this.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't get to actually watch the draft because I was working. But, I saw the highlights of it and the Sportsnet, I was following Sportsnet, their coverage of it. And even like out in the arena area, there was a big crowd of kids, of adults. Like seemed to be so many people in Toronto there. I'm not sure exactly. I don't think they held it at Scotiabank. I'm not sure exactly, but wherever they were holding it, it looked like a big crowd. And then, it just seemed like a big event, which is great for the sport. I mean, again, this is the inaugural draft, so it should be big. And they seem to make it a big deal. So I think that's already a win in my book for that.
I found myself I watched the better part of the first round, all of the second round, and then here and there for like a few rounds after that. I wasn't able to watch the whole thing, but I do want to point out I watched on Twitch, which was cool, which is something PHF did. PHF showed games on Twitch. And last year I was able to watch some on ESPN Plus on Hulu. So I'm hoping that trend continues for the new league.
I mean, that would be great, honestly, just for TV. I mean, it's not TV, but you can show it,
Visibility, like being able to see the games is critically important. You have to be able to watch the games. So I mean, to that point, like a lot of these names, unfortunately, I'm not very familiar with the women's game. I don't know. As a matter of fact, I think I've said before, Sarah Nurse is the only one I know, and I know her from being on last year's NHL game.
Right.
So,
but we'll learn them. We will learn them.
But that's my point. Like, I'm excited to learn these names, learn their game, and I can't wait to see them hit the ice. I'm very geeked up.
Yeah.
We just listened to how her name was pronounced. Taylor Heise.
Taylor Heise.
Heise, the number one overall pick, first ever. And
Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, some might complain about rigging, but at the same time, in this instance, I'd be kind of cool if she is legitimately the best player available and Minnesota had the first pick. then why wouldn't they pick somebody who from Minnesota if she's the very best player available?
Right.
I mean, that just makes sense. If she plays like a number 1 overall pick and she's hometown, people are going to go, which is the
well,
whole
like I said,
point.
I mean, I told an old friend that lives in Minnesota, and she had no idea that the league was happening. She was like, "Oh my God, really?" I'm like, "Yeah." So start spreading the word. So yeah, Taylor Heise played for University of Minnesota, won a couple national championships. Like you said, first overall pick to Minnesota. The only thing, I mean, I'm not necessarily concerned about it yet, but I would like to see some logos and team names come out soon. Like, in the next month would be great. I think is going to only help grow the game.
Yeah.
So we'll run down the top 5 or top 6 technically here real quick. Pick number 2 went to Toronto. It is Jocelyn Larocque. She's a defenseman. Again, we don't know a lot about these women yet, but we will and be doing our research when the season starts in January. Pick number 3 goes to Boston. Forward Alina Muller. Pick number 4, defense for New York City, Ella Shelton. Pick number 5 to Ottawa, also defense Savannah Harmon. And the final pick in round 1 for Montreal, defense Erin Ambrose. So a lot of defense being drafted right there in the first round. So
I noticed that a lot within the first couple rounds, and they even mentioned it on commentary. It was a lot of defenders, and I guess they between like free agents and whatnot, like there was a lot of firepower available in forwards. So let's get the young women defenders in. That's where the talent is in there. And in the few rounds I watched, only one Tendy was drafted. I can't recall her name currently, unfortunately, but I
looked at the draft results at the end of it, and I remember only seeing maybe like 3 goalies total. So I posed this question before. I'm not sure if it's just a lack of availability in the position, or if it's just, again, kind of as we just saw, round 1 was loaded with defense. Maybe that's kind of the mindset, like, well, let's load up on our defenders, and then as long as we get a decent goalie, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see but I know that I remember reading each team has to invite at least 20 players to training camp.
Okay.
Or like to try out. So I imagine there'll be, I'm sure there's going to be more probably contacts being made overseas and trying to get players over here and all that too. I would imagine. So, but yeah, I think it's going to be great for, again, so far I'd say 5 out of 5 for PWHL so far.
Yeah. And just to hammer your point home, please release logos and sweaters and stuff. Like that's a quick way to get a few bucks.
Yeah, for real. Like I'd buy a Minnesota sweater right now.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
I would absolutely get a Toronto one just because Sarah Nurse is my girl.
Yeah.
So
I mean, even if you don't have the logo yet, but release the name, release the team name. Like at least then you can, again, kind of put a name to a face and start like, rooting for your squad. You know what I mean? So, but still, overall, 5 out of 5 for the PWHL. And I would think in the next few weeks, I would think we'd get something, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. More on that as it develops. Like I'm very much looking forward to covering this league, but we also cover the NHL here, Joe. So we need to get this first line out here.
I'm ready. Put me in, coach.
Let's talk about the Vancouver Canucks, eh?
Yeah, the Canucks, eh? I'm gonna let you take the first question. I just wanted to say that we've mentioned the Canucks on this show multiple times about they're very gaslighting, very gaslighty, where they make you think that they're doing a good thing, and then somehow it's your fault that they didn't make it. So, but they've made some moves this offseason, so I'm sure we'll hear some of those in this round of questioning. So, Captain, take it away. It's your floor, your ice.
All right. So 24-year-old Elias Pettersson is the Well, I don't think he's the captain, but he's the young
Quinn
gun,
Hughes.
right? Huh?
Quinn Hughes is the captain.
Yeah, that's right. We mentioned that last week. Pedersen, 80 games played last year, 39 goals, 63 assists, 102 points. Just behind him, JT Miller, 81 games played, 32 goals, 50 assists, 82 points. It's not like nothing's happening here. Quinn Hughes, 76, Kuzmenko, 74, Besser, 55. I think I'm going to focus on Besser here. So Besser is your fifth leading point getter at 55, which is almost half of Pedersen. So I think there you're starting to see maybe what the issue is here, right? He played 74 games last year, 18 goals, 37 assists. Joe, over or under 30 goals for Brock Besser this year?
Well, I think Besser could have a big year. I think getting honestly, I've mentioned his name on this show multiple times. Bo Horvat, getting him out of Vancouver, I think was a good move. So I feel like it's Besser's opportunity to step up. I don't necessarily think he's been touted as a superstar. I've never really heard that come out when talking about Besser, but I think he's a decent player. I think with a full season under his belt, he has scored almost 30 goals before, so it's possible. I'm going to go with the over because I would like to see Vancouver actually have a good start to the season, have a good medium part of the season, and a good finish to the season to maybe make the playoffs again. I would honestly like to see that because we talked about this before. We like seeing new blood in the playoff picture. So I'm going to go with the over. Not a lot, but I'm going to say 33.
Okay.
Also, he's a native of Minnesota, so I have a kinship there.
There you go. I'm going to go with the under. But I am going to say he has a better year than 18. I think I'm going to go with 27. So I'm going to say he's close to it. But I mean, to your point, I think with Horvat out of there, again, Horvat was dealt at the deadline, but Besser had a point more than. So Horvat in his 49 games played had 54 points. Besser in his 74 had 55.
Yeah. I just think Horvat is a cancer. So,
get him out of there.
Get him out of the locker room, and so I think it'll be better. We'll see what happens, I guess. All right, Justin, I'm going to hit you with the goalie question.
There we go.
So, Thatcher Demko has been the number one guy for the Canucks, but he only played 32 games last year. He was a little bit injury ridden. He was 14-14 and 4, so not a great year by any means. 3.16 goals against average, and just barely over a 9 save percentage. But he has had in previous years pretty good seasons, 915 save percentages, a 272 goals against average. He has won 33 games in a year before, so he has the ability to be a top goaltender in the league. So, Justin, let's just say Thatcher Demko is healthy this year, and he's the number one goaltender. One thing, his max games that he's ever played is 64.
Okay.
So a healthy Thatcher Demko, Justin, over or under 50 games played this year for the Vancouver Canucks?
Well, I think this is the time where we bring up, didn't they just pick up Casey DeSmith?
A trade that just happened. Yep. Vancouver picked up Casey DeSmith from Montreal for Tanner Pearson and a 2025 third round pick.
So he's got somebody who can press him. Nothing against last year. It looks like Spencer Martin, Colin Delia, and Arthur Silovs were his backups, or took over while he was injured. But I to answer your question directly, a healthy Thatcher Demko, I think he goes 50 for sure, because he's got to be one, and Casey DeSmith now gives you a viable 1B. And I hope he pushes.
DeSmith is a good backup. He really is.
he's not going to steal the job unless Demko gets hurt. He's not going to steal the job from you, but he's a guy who can spell Demko if he just needs a day off, and it's not going to leave a big gaping hole. So I like a healthy Demko playing 50 games for sure. I'll take the over. I'll go slightly over. I'll go 53.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would push, but I'm going to say 51, just to go with the over. I think just the last couple seasons being injury ridden, I think I feel like this is going to be a good season for him. I'm hoping so anyway. So we'll see what happens. Just for the Canucks' sake, I hope he's healthy this year. So,
all right. Let's see. Unfortunately, I hate to throw shade here at the Canucks, but it, like you keep mentioning, they kind of gaslight us. They
really do.
They play well enough to be in conversations, but when you look at this roster, it's it's not bad, but it's there's nothing to really get excited about either. I'm trying to think.
They always at least the last couple of years start terrible. And they essentially take themselves out of the playoff picture in the first 20 games of the year. Because if you start the year off 7-14-2, you're already so far behind. But then they make this push from the deadline on, and it's oh man, the Canucks might do it. It's just this constant a little bit and then take it away, a little bit, take it away. It's like a Katy Perry song in Vancouver.
Here's a guy that I pay attention to on fantasy. Connor Garland, last season, still young cat, 81 games played last year, 17 goals, 29 assists for 46 points. Joe, would you rather Connor Garland have the breakout and he pushes, let's say, JT Miller's 82, he puts out 80, he doubles his points, or I'm going to bring Besser back. Again, young cat, 25. He's only 25, 74, 18, 37 for 55 points. Or would you rather Besser be the one who becomes your number 2 guy and does 80 points?
Well, I think I'm going to pick Besser because I'm looking at cap friendly, and Connor Garland is signed for another 3 years. Besser is under contract for another 2 years. So if I at least get Besser having a great year or a better year this year, that could be trade bait to get me some either or extend him, right, and lock him in for 8 years at a solid contract, or trade bait for some assets. So in either case, it's a win. It'd be a win-win, I think, for Vancouver, where Garland, I mean, he's been steady as she goes while progressing slightly every year, seemingly. So, he still has years to kind of really get into his own, I think. So I'd rather go with Besser for trade bait.
Just as an added, Besser a -20, Garland a -5. So, I mean, I think I agree with you. I think I'd rather have Besser have the breakout so I can move him and get some pieces while Garland gets it together, and he could have another. He's got another 3 seasons to turn it around. So yeah, I think I'm with you. I'll go with that as well.
All right. I'm looking at cat friendly still, and I need to count this out real quick. So I'm kind of just stalling while I count this out in my head while I'm still talking and not really actually saying, anything. But I am talking. It's not dead air, but I'm also counting on my fingers just so everybody knows. But okay. So at the end of this year, Justin, the Canucks on their squad of 20, a roster size is 23 guys, right? They will have, right now they have 8 guys on the last year of their contract that'll be unrestricted free agents.
Wow.
And they have 1, 2, 3, 4 restricted free agents. So 12 guys are about to be free agents at the end of this season, Justin.
Wow.
And I'm going to say these names also because it's going to play into my would you rather. Your guy you just brought up, Elias Peterson, Anthony Beauvillier, Teddy Bluger, Dakota Joshua, I don't know who that is, Sheldon Dries, no idea, Jack Studnicka, no idea, Tyler Myers on the defense, Philip Roenick, who came over the trade deadline, Ian Cole, Jack Ratbone, and Matt Irwin. So some guys that are, and Casey DeSmith, who just came over, will be unrestricted free agents too. Okay, so of those 12 guys, Justin, this is going to be kind of sort of, okay, yeah, so I'm going to do it. All right. So would you rather lose, I'll give you the big guys. Would you rather lose Elias Peterson, Anthony Beauvillier, and I guess I got to go Dakota Josh because he's up. Those are your forwards. We're doing this on the fly. Okay, it's going to be like this. I'm going to split it up a little bit. Okay, so for your unrestricted, for your free agents, wow. Okay, would you rather lose, Justin, Elias Peterson as a forward, Tyler Myers on the back end, and Casey DeSmith? Okay, so a forward, a defenseman, and a goalie. All, I think I'd say medium across the board, I'd say. Or Anthony Beauvillier, Ian Cole, I guess. This is a terrible question. I'm going to start over. This is a terrible question. I'm going to start over. This makes for great pod stuff. Make sure you chirp us at Barn Chirpers Pod and say, Joe, maybe if you prepared for this, you might have a better podcast, you idiot.
This is exactly my point. Like, the Canucks have nothing exciting going on.
They really when I was thinking of this question, I was about to ask you, who would you rather lose in free agency? Because I thought it looked good. I was like, there's 12 guys going to be free agents. But none of these guys are very good. So okay, so I'm going to go with a different would you rather question. Here we go. Okay, here we go. This is perfect. All right. So in 2024, the Canucks have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 picks in 2024. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you rather trade all of your first round picks in 2024 to get one superstar on the Canucks squad? Okay, you with me?
Mm-hmm.
And you are going to get 9th in the West, so you just miss. Okay. Or would you rather lose all of your 8 picks in 2024 and just get little teeny tiny pieces, but you're only going to move up to, hold on, I gotta look at this real quick, 1 spot above where you finished last year?
Oof.
Which is, I'll give you an actual number here. All right, so they finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the bottom in the West.
Ooh.
So you're going to, whatever those assets end up being, but you have 8 picks in 2024, and whatever you do, you end up not having any picks in 2024, and you end up with 1 superstar, whoever that is, but you end up with 1 superstar, legitimate superstar on the squad. But you miss out on the playoffs by 1 spot. Or you do the same thing, but you get just, depth guys, guys that do a little something for the squad, and you only move up to 7th best in the West. or 7th worst?
Oof. That's a lot more even than the Canucks deserve.
Does the question make sense though?
Yeah. Well, because my inclination is to go with the superstar, even though theoretically you kind of want all the pieces. But if you get either way, you're losing picks. I mean, at least with the superstar, you're getting production, you're getting.
I want to put not that this would ever happen, but I think this question would make it a little more interesting. Let's say that you were able to get David Pastrnak on the squad.
Ooh, Pasta. Oh, okay.
Let's just say, for instance, to put a name to it, to make it even, to make it, a better question.
Boston's in free fall and decides they want to do business with Vancouver.
Yeah, it'll never happen, but let's say
no.
it does.
Shoot. Well, I think where they're at, they need the depth. The holdup is, I mean, obviously either way you're missing the playoffs. I think the holdup on the second situation for me is you're only advancing one spot. So it's like you're not getting that much better, but you're plugging a lot of holes. Maybe you're getting, because you dealt off Shen last year. I guess you got Quinn Hughes. You've got young talent already.
They do have a lot of young talent. I'll give them that.
So, just to answer the question, I'm gonna go with the depth as opposed to the superstar, even though it goes against what I really think. So I'm gonna go with the depth. I'm gonna go with second scenario.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, just to be contrarian, I will go with let's get the superstar, because if we just miss out, I mean, we're only taking out these teams: Nashville, Calgary. Really, Nashville and Calgary. That's it. So, really, on paper, it doesn't seem that bad, but the points differential, 83 to 93. I mean, that's 5 games that you have to win. So, can Pasta do that for you? Let's just say if it was Pasta. I don't know, but I would go with that, because at least, I don't actually like it, but but yeah, I think I'm going to go with that, just to be contrarian, because we have a superstar at least, and maybe you can try to build around him, even though you don't have any picks in 2024. But
right.
They do have a lot of picks in 25 and 26, so maybe it works out. But that's what I'm going with. Vancouver, that was pretty boring.
Yeah, sorry, Vancouver, but that we spent way too much time on you. Time to move on to
I do like the sweaters. I like the
flying skates. Like, I love that the flying skates are making a comeback. So I wanted to get a flying skate. But Joe, it's time to move on to your defending Stanley Cup champions, the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah. I mean, what else can we say?
Yeah, they finished first in the NHL. Full stop. Like, sneakily, very sneakily good. Just when you think about it, like, just 4-1 over the Jets in the first round, 4-2 over the Oilers in the second round, 4-2 over the Stars in the Western Conference Finals, and 4-1 over the Panthers in the Stanley Cup.
Murdered everybody. And to think that Bruce Cassidy Bruce Cassidy coached Boston for all those years, and he couldn't do it.
Yeah. Crazy.
But then he comes over to Vegas, and you essentially have the same team. The same number of guys you consider superstars, guys you consider top players, and a bunch of depth guys. It's kind of the same team, truly.
So what I'm going to ask, basically, we don't have a lot changing here going into next year, to your point. I got to ask it. Over or under Stanley Cup Finals for your Vegas Golden Knights?
I mean,
the hardest thing to do is repeat.
Especially in the NHL, as we've talked about many times. You know what? I can't really go over.
Yeah, I guess
this would technically be a push.
Yeah. Well, I guess over would be winning the cup.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you said Stanley Cup Finals.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said win. Okay. Well, I mean, honestly, if there's a team that can do it, I would go the over winning. Yeah.
Wow.
This team could do it. I mean, didn't they have pretty much the same team coming back. So yeah, I counted them out the entire playoffs last year. So I'm just going to say, yep, win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
It's not my actual prediction. That remains to be seen next week when we do predictions. But for this question, I will say over, win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, yeah, I continually counted them out. I kept going, they're boring. They aren't going to get it done, even though I'd seen them play and knew that they weren't boring and they're a very tough out. Yeah. It really, I agree with you in principle that if there is a team that can do it, it is this Vegas Golden Knights, but it is really hard to do. And you're one injury away from, or Hill not getting hot. Like it's one thing away from not even making the cup. So I'm going to go the under. I think that's just the odds are that they don't make it back. So I'm going to go with the under.
Yeah. I mean, truly, like it's the hardest thing to do. So, so Ivan Barbashev, Justin, came over at the trade deadline from St. Louis, helped them win the cup. I mean, he was probably the best trade acquisition at the trade deadline last year, truly. And then they extended him for 5 years at $5 million, Justin.
Good for him.
His stats last year, so he played 59 games with the Blues, 10 goals, 19 assists, 29 points. This is interesting. A -10 on the Blues. He got traded to Vegas, 23 games, 6 goals, 10 assists, 16 points, plus 11.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially that's what, 70. Oh, that's a full season. He played every game last year, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he played every game last year, 82 games. So a full 82 game season with the Vegas Golden Knights, Justin. He's just a hair under a point per game. So I'm going to set it at over under, let's say, let's go 30 goals. 30 goals for the Vegas, for Ivan Barbashev on a full season with the Vegas Golden Knights.
So he had 6 with Vegas in 23.
Yep.
Man, that is almost perfect.
Let me give you a little history. 21-22 with the Blues. He played 81 games, 26 goals, 34 assists, 60 points. That's his best season that he has had.
Well, I like this offense a lot more.
Yeah.
I like them a lot more. I'm going to go. I feel like technically this is a push. I think he's going to be right at that 30 goal mark. I'm going to go positive though. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go 35 goals for Barbie.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I feel like this would technically be a push. I do think he's going to have his best career season this year on a full season on the Vegas squad, but I am going to say under. It's going to be just under though. I'm going to say 29 goals for Barbie. Yeah,
I feel that.
I do think he's going to have his best career season though, being on this squad a full year.
Joe,
I mean, if he could score 26 on a not great Blues team in 2021, 22, like
yeah, yes, yeah, I think all the pieces are there for him to be able to do it. So, this is insane. I'm looking at the stats here. Jack Eichel, top point getter for the Stanley Cup winners. Only 67 games played, 27 goals, 39 assists, only 66 points, Joe. Top point getter for the Stanley Cup winners. Look at these points: 66, 65, 57, 56, 54, 53, 41, 38, 36, and 30 are the top 10. But then it gets even crazier, Joe. Top plus minus for Jack Eichel, plus 26. Stevenson, plus 12. Marchessault, plus 2. Riley Smith, plus 11. Pietrangelo, plus 13. Carlson, plus 14. Shea Theodore, plus 16. Mark Stone, plus 11. Kessel, minus 7. And then Roy or Waugh, plus 10. That's your top 10. Only one guy with the minus at the top. And every team I've looked at, that has not been the case. They had a plus 189 as a team, Joe.
Phew. That's pretty dang good.
Yeah. So would you rather continue that trend, a plus, a really solid plus number, but you miss the cup altogether, you just kind of make the playoffs? Or would you rather free fall, you come back down to earth, whatever the league average is? I wonder if that's on here. Is there a league average for plus minus?
It's probably somewhere around 80 or 90.
Yeah, I wish I would have used this for the over under as opposed to the cup. But or you free fall, let's say, and you come back down to earth to, like you said, 90, middle of the pack. But you make the Western Conference Finals again. So
man.
So
okay,
it's you kill it again, you get in the playoffs, but first or second round exit, or you free fall and you get to the Western Conference Finals.
So a total Stanley Cup hangover, or sort of a Stanley Cup hangover?
Mm-hmm. So this helps.
I think I'd rather just go.
So their playoff plus minus for as a team was plus 156.
Hey, we're back.
I think we have a little bit of a lag.
Dead air.
Clearly. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. I didn't hear. I mean, the last thing I heard was maybe it helps.
Okay. So their plus minus in the playoffs was 156. So they continued the trend in the playoffs, just being the better team.
Right. I think I'm going to go with the full-on Stanley Cup hangover because I feel like that's not as embarrassing as getting to the Western Conference Finals and losing. I don't know. That's just – even though just free-falling is also embarrassing, like Stanley Cup hangover, we talk about it, it's a common thing that happens with teams. But, yeah, somehow after being such a wagon last year – to go to the conference finals and lose, I think stings more than just we partied real hard and we just couldn't get our stuff together this season. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'd rather just total Stanley Cup hangover than get to the conference finals and lose. That hurts. That hurts.
I agree.
All right, Justin. Dang, I guess I'm getting the goalie questions today. All right, so as we know, Aiden Hill stepped in and was the tendy that won the Stanley Cup, essentially, obviously for the Vegas Golden Knights. In the season, he played 27 games, started 25. He was 16-7-1, pretty solid record. Also a 2.5 goals against average and 915 save percentage. That's a damn good goalie. But the guy who was mostly in the net was Logan Thompson. 37 games played, 36 games started, 21, 13, and 3. Also a good record, 2.65, 915. So they are very similar with goals against average. right on the money with save percentage. Also, there was that guy, Laurent Brosson, but who gives a crap about him? He's on the Winnipeg Jets now. So, Justin, real simple. Would you rather Adin Hill be the number one goaltender and continue what he started essentially in the Stanley Cup playoffs? He's the number one guy. You give him majority of the starts, and he has another solid season like I just named off. He wins 20-plus games, 2.5 or so goals against average, 915 save percentage. But Vegas is going to get bounced in the first round. Or would you rather have Logan Thompson? Actually, you know what? I don't even want to say that. Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Adin Hill as the number one goalie or Logan Thompson as the number one goalie? They're very similar, but who would you rather have be your number one who's going to take the majority of the starts and lead this team this year?
See, that's, statistically, they're almost mirror. As you pointed out, Adin Hill, slightly better goals against. Save percentages are right on the money. Their games played aren't that. Logan got 10 more.
Yeah, about 10 more. Yeah.
11. 10 more games played, 11 more starts. Similar records. I think after last season, I think you want Hill just to kind of ride. He's the guy that got it done for you in the playoffs. Nothing against Logan Thompson. Obviously, he played well. He got you there. But Adin Hill got the job done in the playoffs. And, I'd have to look up the contract situation, but he's probably the one that's going to get the payday because of that. So I think on paper and because of results, I go with Adin Hill.
Okay. I was just about to give you contracts. Adin Hill is signed for 4.9 for 2 more years. Logan Thompson is signed for 766 for 2 more years.
Oof. Well, I mean,
does that change your answer at all?
I still feel like you want Adin Hill after the year he had. And then now maybe Thompson becomes trade bait. And you get, because looking at this list, Quick is gone, but Patera, I'm sure is still there. He's a young cat, 23. He can be, I don't know, man. I just something about sentimentally, I can't separate from Adin Hill. So I think I'm sticking with my answer, Adin Hill.
Yeah, I don't have an argument with that. I mean, he got the job done from game 2 in the first round. So you got to go with him. He's the guy until he proves otherwise, I think. Logan Thompson is a solid goaltender. There's no reason why he can't. I get wanting to play and I get wanting to be the guy, but also if you can ride shotgun on a wagon of a team and you're still going to get 20-some plus starts, you're still going to be a part of that championship winning team. So, I'm going with riding Adin Hill. So.
All right. So that wraps us up on the Knights, right?
Sure does.
Are you ready for this?
No, not at all.
It's time to talk about your Washington Capitals.
My guys. It's going to be a tough year. It's going to be a tough year for sure. But, it was a good draft this year, so we got some young prospects. That's about, Ovi's still on the hunt to break Wayne Gretzky's record, so, it'll be okay. It'll be fine.
So I'm taking the goalie question because I'm going to go.
I figured you would.
You curse his name at every chance you can get, but Kemp's is your guy.
Ugh.
Right?
Ugh.
So last season, 57 games played, 56 games started, 22, 26, and 7 record. A 98 save percentage, not the end of the world, and 287 goals against. That's pretty solid. 5 shutouts for your man's Darcy Kemper. Charlie Lindgren riding shotgun as it were. 31 games played, 26 games started, 13-11-3, an 89.9 save percentage, 305 goals against. So I'm gonna take the simple one. Would you rather Kemper or Lindgren be 1A this year?
I mean, I would rather trade and get a more consistent goaltender, because that's the thing. Neither of them are consistent. They get kind of hot and they have really good games. Obviously, Kemper had 5 shutouts. Like,
Yeah,
he had his moments, but then he would just let in beach balls. Like, why did you not stop that? You should have stopped. Like, you're a goaltender of the NHL. You've won a Stanley Cup. Why aren't you stopping that puck? And same thing with Lindgren. Like, I was really high on him last season. Hell, I traded for him in fantasy with you because I was like, this kid is hot. He did the same thing. He'd have a string of 2 or 3 really good games when he played, and then all of a sudden the next 5 he just crapped the bed. So to answer your question, Justin, I'd rather have neither. Truly, I'd rather have Phoenix Copley back, truly, or Samsonov or Vanacek. I don't know why you get rid of solid goaltenders why are we getting rid of these good guys? Anyway, as much as I hate to say it, I guess I'd rather have Kemper be the number 1 guy because he has a little bit more experience.
Yeah.
Do I like it? Not really. But maybe he'll pull his head out of his butt this offseason and actually just I don't need a Vezina Trophy winning goalie. I just want a goalie that's decent and stop the pucks you're supposed to stop. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Just stop the pucks you're supposed to stop. That's it. So that's all I got for that. Well, Justin, this is not your team. It's my team. But I am going to ask you a pretty simple question. I believe in the Metro, the Washington Capitals. Last year, they finished 6th in the Metro with 80 points. So, Justin, over or under, the Washington Capitals, 5th in the Metro.
Okay, not what I thought you were going to ask, but okay.
Well, what do you think I was going to ask?
I thought you were going to ask over under 80 points.
Oh,
That's what I was going to ask, but now I got to change it. I don't know that they got better. I don't know that they got necessarily worse. They just got older, right?
Yeah, I don't think as much as I can chirp them, like they're my squad. I don't think they got worse, but yeah, they didn't necessarily get better. They just got another year older.
Right. So, but the way
if Patches ends up coming back and doesn't tear his Achilles in the second game and comes back, that might be an offensive production.
Maybe, but that's such a maybe because you're right.
Side note, you should just retire, bud. Like, you literally tore your Achilles twice in the same year.
Yeah. It was exciting those few games he was back in Carolina, even though it was frustrating because I think one of the games was against us. So I was like, oh my God, get this guy off the ice. And then he got hurt. So again, but so to answer your question,
so that essentially would put them at 91 points because that's what Pittsburgh had, 91 points last season.
I don't think they're better than Pittsburgh. I think at best they're on par with last year, which is they might get a couple more points, but I don't think they're passing Pittsburgh. So I got to go the under. I think they stay right where they're at, finish 6th. Like I said, I don't think they got worse. They just got older and they definitely didn't get better. So, hopefully I'm wrong for your sake, but I don't see that happening.
It's okay. I've accepted that we're probably going to be at the bottom of the barrel of the Metro for the next 2 to 4 years, and that's okay. That's fine. As long as Ovi breaks the record, which he will in about 3 seasons, 2.5 seasons, it's fine. It's all worth it. I mean, I don't think they're going to have 11 more points. I would be truly surprised if they pulled that off. Again, if Kemper pulls his head out of his butt, very possible. But Pittsburgh definitely got better than them. They didn't get any worse. They're not worse than Philly, and they're not worse than Columbus. So I'm going to say I said fifth. So I'm going to go over. I'm going to say sixth. So they end up in the same position as last year.
Yep, same.
I think that's right.
Same.
But yeah.
All right. So now I got to do
same.
An over-under. Right? Yeah, because I did Would You Rather for the goalies.
Yep.
All right. Well, I mean, we keep talking about Ovi. Ovi last season, man's 37 years old, so he still has wheels. He's, and if he stays with your boys, which I don't see him going anywhere. Played 73 games, 42 goals, 33 assists for 75 points. Not bad on not a great Washington Capitals squad. Behind him, Dylan Strome, 81 games played, 23 goals, 42 assists, 65 points. I don't know if I want to do the Ovi question. What's the so goals for last season, 253, goals against 261. So that's where I'm going. League average was they were just barely above league average. League average goals against was 258 and they had 261. So over or under 270 goals against for your Washington Capitals.
Well, man. Yeah, they didn't. Well, again, if Patches comes back and he doesn't tear his Achilles again, that could get you 15 goals. I'm going to go under, but just barely. I'm going to say 268.
All right.
I think with a healthy John Carlson, that's going to get you 20. He was out a bunch last year. Same thing with TJ Oshie. If those guys are healthy, they're going to score you some goals. So I think it's possible, but I'm going with the under 268.
All right. I think me too. And just to throw a different number out there, I'll go 265.
Okay. All right, Justin. So I'm going to give you two longtime Capitals, both with their own specific skills on the squad, but both very important. Who would you rather trade and get assets for?
Okay.
John Carlson or Nicholas Backstrom?
My gut says Carlson, even though he's probably less likely to move. He's been injury prone the last couple seasons. But that's my gut. Getting
a slap shot in the face wasn't really his fault, but
yeah,
you're right.
Fair enough.
But you're right. He was hurt the previous season too. So
he missed a lot of time over the last two seasons.
He did, unfortunately.
But I still think there's teams that wouldn't mind slotting him into their blue line, whether that's their top blue line or second line. So I think you deal off Carlson. The squad ain't going anywhere with him anyway. So let's keep the goal scorers, even though Carlson is a little bit more offensive minded. Let's keep the centers. Let's keep the forwards, and let's see if we can't. I mean, Kemper's not stopping anything anyway. So who does it matter?
Accurate. That's pretty accurate, actually. Yeah.
What does it matter who's in front of him?
Yeah.
So
It doesn't
yeah,
really.
I'm going with Carlson. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I want to be contrarian and say Backstrom, but really, you'd get more assets for Carlson over Backstrom. Like Backstrom's on the end of his career, I think. Coming back from a major hip surgery, he looked good when he came back at the end of last season, but still, that's a major injury to have and to rehab from. Like he's not going to be the same player that he once was. So you're going to get more for Carlson if that was to be a thing. Like when the rebuild actually happens, that very well could happen.
Yeah.
So yeah. But here's to next season.
I mean, it could be worse. You could be a Flyers fan.
It's true. I could be a Flyers fan or a Blue Jackets fan or a Sharks fan. It could be worse.
Could have been a Devils fan a couple seasons ago. That was pretty brutal.
Yeah, it was in the 1920 era. Yeah. That was tough.
All right. So moving on from your guys, let's head up north for the last squad, the Winnipeg Jets. And look, here's the big talking point with the Winnipeg Jets currently. So I'm going to ask it straight up front. Over or under 30 games played for Connor Hellebuck in a Winnipeg Jets uniform next season?
Ooh. That's a really good question. Because, man, it seems easy, but he very possibly could be traded by then because he wants to be traded. He doesn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be there anymore. And I guess just for stats to fill while you think, last season, 64 games played, 64 games started, 37, 25, and 2 for Connor Hellebuck.
And I just saw a stat that he had the most games last year with above a 90 save percentage.
Yeah,
he had 43 games. Yeah, like 43 games he played above a 92 save percentage is insane. You know what? I'm gonna go. I'm trying to think. So about 10. Well, 30 is really gonna bring probably to about January timeframe. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna say 40.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 40 because that brings right around about the trade deadline. I think if I did my math properly in my head, which let's be honest, I probably didn't. But I'm gonna say 40 because I think it's gonna be a very last minute deal if it does happen.
So you don't think he's getting dealt before the trade deadline?
I don't think so because he's on his last year. So he's still under contract till the end of this season. So they're either going to try to sign him, which we know he doesn't want to do, or try to deal him off to get some assets for him, or let him walk. Like,
yeah,
I don't think that they're going to let an all-star goaltender like Connor Hellebuck just walk for nothing. I don't think that would happen, but stranger things have happened. I mean, Phil Kessel's won the Stanley Cup 3 times. So
yeah, Connor Hellebuck on almost any other team, possibly like we could be talking about him as an all-time great, but he's in Winnipeg, and he's just a really good goaltender.
Connor Hellebuck on any other Stanley Cup contending squad probably would have won 3 cups in his career by now.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I know we'll take him. I mean, like we'll
take him too. Pay him all the money. Like, I mean, I guess it's kind of like a lateral transition because Washington and Winnipeg are pretty about the same right now. But anyway, that's another story. Okay, Justin. So Kyle Connor has kind of been the standout for these Winnipeg Jets. Kind of quietly. I don't think people really talk about this kid too much. Last season, 82 games played, 31 goals, 49 assists, 80 points. The season before that, 47 goals in 79 games, 46 assists, 93 points, which was his best season of his career in 21-22. So, Justin, over under Kyle Connor, 50 goals this year.
It's a leap of 19 goals. That seems like a lot. But it's like he's on track to do that is the thing. You get PLD out of the way. He's not there anymore.
Yeah, thankfully. That guy. I was gonna say something else, but PG. Let me give you a little history because there seems to be a little bit of a trend here, okay?
All right.
So from earliest to most present for goals, 31, 34, 38, 26, but that was the COVID shortened season. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was 26 and 56. Keep that in mind. 47, 31.
So he had the big drop off from last year to this year.
Mm-hmm. And technically he had a drop off after a big season in the shortened season, technically. I mean, right. I guess he would have, that's almost a goal a game. He probably was somewhere around 40-ish in that 2021 season. So he would have had the most goals that he'd scored, probably.
So my gut is saying under. I'm going to go with the under. I'm looking at like last season, Scheifele scored 42. Connor was second best at 31, and then PLD at 27. But goal scoring seems to be a real issue for this club. I do think he has a better season. I think PLD out of his way definitely earns him probably, again, PLD had 27. Some of those are going Connor's way. I just 19's a hell of a leap.
It is.
So I'm gonna go with the under. I'm gonna go 44 goals for Kyle Connor next season.
Okay. I'm going to go with the under as well, not as much. I'm going to go 46. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to have a good year, but I don't think he's going to break 50. I just don't think. Well, yeah, I'm going to say 46 because I'm going to save this because that's going to. I don't want to mention the guy's name because I'm going to ask you a question about him. So I don't want to put it in your head too much.
I hope it's not the question I was going to ask.
I don't think so. But so Justin, a couple guys came over in a trade from the LA Kings, Alex Iafallo and Gabe Velarde, two depth guys that were on the Kings. So now they're on the Winnipeg Jets. Okay. So would you rather the new guys have a breakout season? Let's just say a breakout season. Or would you rather two guys that have been on the squad for a couple of years now, Nino Niederreiter and Vladislav Nemestikov, have a bigger season? So old dogs or new dogs? Who do you want to have a better season?
Give me the new dogs. I don't know what it is, man. I like Alex Iafallo a lot.
I do too. I really do. I really do. I really like that kid.
Feel like
he's clutch. I've had him in fantasy multiple times because I needed some goals and he got them for me.
Yeah. I think Los Angeles being kind of going the other way or at least moving away from him. I think there's more room for him. Like I mentioned, the goal scoring a problem here. If you look at the goals, there's plenty of room for him to play here. Yes. Let's see, most assists here. Josh Morrissey, 60. Your man's Kyle Connor had 49 dishes last year, so Connor can dish to Iafallo. Yeah, give me the new cats, Iafallo and Velarde.
I'm here for it. Yeah, I mean, 100%. I I think that they could have a breakout season in Winnipeg because, I mean, surrounded by, Scheifele, like you said, Connor. I think I don't think they were overshadowed in LA, but I think, like you said, there's more opportunity here in Winnipeg to shine, to be put in higher pressure situations. I know Iafallo was on the power play with Kopi and Kempe, but with those guys, you're getting the puck to them. You know what I mean? So I think there's more opportunity here in Winnipeg for Iafallo to shine.
All right. I just realized I never answered my Hellebuck question. So I'm going to go with I'm going to play Homer. I'm going to go with the under. I'm going to go he gets dealt to the Devils early in the season.
Okay. Honestly, I hope it happens. I really do.
It into existence.
I really do. Let's manifest that.
Let's manifest.
Yeah.
All right. So last season the Jets get into the playoffs. They get waxed in the first round 4-1 by defending Cup champions Vegas Golden Knights. Would you rather Cole Perfetti has a breakout season and for the record 21 years old, 51 games played last season, 8 goals, a little bit, and 22 assists for 30 points last season? Would you rather Cole Perfetti has a breakout season but you miss the playoffs, or everybody, it's just evened out, everybody kind of does the same and you miss the playoffs?
You're missing anyway, and that was probably going to happen no matter what. Let's be real. I'd rather see Cole Perfetti get a good full season healthy and see what the kid can do, because I've seen very little, but I've seen some highlights, and the kid can fly. So I'd love to see that, and it would be good for Winnipeg too to have a breakout star like that, because what else do you have to cheer for in Winnipeg besides cold and blizzard?
Yes.
And you know what I mean? So,
and whoever they're going to pick up from the Devils.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah, man, I'm with you. I'd rather see the kid break out. I mean, he's still young. He showed. I had him for a bit last season in fantasy, and I had my eyes on him. I think you have something special with Perfetti. And again, man, you get a guy like PLD out of the way, Blake Wheeler's out of the way now. You've got he is a vet, even though he's only 29. Scheifele,
right.
Connor, you've got Viardi coming in, you've got Iafallo coming in, and then Perfetti. That's a solid. I named 5 of your top 6. So
young guns lines,
So and I like it. I'm going with Perfetti as well. And I think that does it for Winnipeg, does it not?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe it does. Let's give the guys a break here. You know what I mean? Or
yes.
From doing all that work, time to be. Oh, I think that was a whistle. Are we going to man up?
We going to man up, Jack. And we didn't want to give it any time last week, right? This is what we're doing? Or is that the empty net? I'm sorry. I forgot.
Yeah, it's the empty net. That's okay. That's right. You can just look in the comments. I wrote it down. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there it is.
It's fine. But no, just some quick things, something real quick. Okay. So, we are going with that. What am I talking about? I'm screwing myself up. So Mike Babcock is out as the head coach in Columbus. He resigned, which is just a better way of saying he got fired, asked to leave. If you want to know more of the story, you can Google it. We on this podcast don't want to speculate on something that we don't know anything about.
Yeah.
We've heard some things, and if it is true, it's absolutely disgusting. And I am glad that at least everything that transpired and it was gotten out of head of it. Wow. If I could talk, this is a podcast. I'm a podcast co-host. getting out ahead of this and taking punitive actions, vice covering it up like another NHL franchise that we know, and and more people getting hurt. So I will say that when we covered Mike Babcock getting hired as his Columbus Blue Jackets coach earlier this summer, we both were like, that's probably not a great move. So it's not a I told you so moment. It's just more so like, what are we doing, Columbus? But I think it's going to be a tough road. Pascal Vincent, who was the assistant coach, got promoted to be the head coach. This was essentially on Monday of this week. And let's see, 72 hours. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I believe actual training camp starts tomorrow, Friday. So essentially he had 72 hours to come up with a plan because training camp starts literally. It might have actually started today. I don't know for sure, to be honest. But I am wishing the Blue Jackets organization and the team well, because we talked about them when we talked about our over-under and would you rathers. We want to see them do well. There is promise on this squad. So hopefully they can move past this. It's, I think, going to be very tough, though, especially in the locker room. The veteran guys, the captains and the associate captains got to step up and really bring some trust back in that locker room. Because again, if you want to know more, just Google it. We're not going to speculate on the things that happened and have been said, but anyway, that's all I really got for it. I mean, just kind of wishing the best for the Blue Jackets, because they really, what else? You know what I mean? Can we just not?
Can something go right in Columbus? I think the only thing I want to add here is, to your point, when it came up, we were like, why? Can we stop with the rehashing of the old coaches? And I'm saying that as a Devils fan who has Lindy Ruff as our head coach, but I mean, at some point they got to step aside, and we need to see the new blood. Especially the league is different now. Like the way the game is played is different. The world that we live in is different. We got to stop going to these old heads and expecting them to change themselves in today's world. So that's stop going to the well.
Yeah. And I think this will come out the right way. To that same point, a lot of the boomer generation, will say, talks about the world going soft, these days. And while I will agree to that to some degree, but with this, that has nothing to do with being soft. You don't treat people this way. You don't, you know what I mean? You're running a professional or you're in charge of a professional team. You don't treat humans this way. Right? You don't do that. So yeah, we don't swear on this show, but I would say some very choice words about his being the type of human that Mike Babcock is. But that's the name of the game. Regardless if you think that, the world has gone soft, these kids need to toughen up, blah, blah, blah. You don't treat humans this way. So that's the end of it. You don't treat humans that way. So hopefully they can move past this and let's play hockey and win some hockey games,
Yeah, how about that? I mean, again, there's a difference between being tough on players. Like Torts is notoriously tough on players. Why he's not getting chased out? Because he's just being tough. There's a difference between being a terrible human and being tough. So
yes, there's a difference in being in tough love and taking advantage.
There you go. So I think that's the let's pull a goalie. Let's get away from that, because there's nothing much really else to say.
You can't really transition from that, so let's just try to score a goal here. A lot of vacancies still left in the NHL, but another team that closed up their vacancy, the Boston Bruins, named Brad Marchand captain of the Boston Bruins. Justin, how do you feel about that?
I want to punch his face.
Well, everybody wants to punch his face. I mean, I want to punch his face too, but I mean,
but who else? Right? Like, who else? It's got to be him.
It's got to be him. He's the longest tenured Bruin on that squad. Like, there's literally nobody else that you could pick. I mean, yeah, I guess you could give it to Pasta, but he hasn't even been there that long either, truly, I think maybe the positive of this is potentially Marchand won't be such a rat anymore.
Yeah, maybe. He's
got to show a little more, leadership and not be such a piece of crap, So
here's hoping.
Maybe that changes the game a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. So if that's the case, then I clap it up for that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, do it. Another squad that closed up their vacancy as captain, the Blues named Braden Shen as the captain of the squad. So you go from Ryan O'Reilly to Braden Shen. I don't really know much about Braden Shen, to be honest with you. He might be one of the other longest tenured Blues. I'm not really sure, to be honest. We talked about them a couple weeks ago. It's a young squad, so.
Mm-hmm. Do you really want to be the captain of the Blues? Is the question.
Yeah, I guess my take is like, is there really much difference from the last couple of years, or from last year not having a captain to having a captain now? I don't think so.
Probably not.
And then one other piece of news before I give you the chance to talk about your boys' news: Jaromir Jagr suiting up to play his 35th year in hockey in the Czech Republic.
What a dude! What a dude Jaromir Jagr is.
What a guy. He owns that club too, by the way.
I love this man. I mean, considering he was a player that I hated because he was a Pen forever.
Yeah.
And I'm a Devs fan. So like, I hated everybody on the Pens, even Super Mario to an extent. But like, then he went world traveler, like as far as playing for every squad. And that just, it just endeared me. Like he came for a few for us, and it's just like the dude just loves hockey, and you need that. The world needs more Jaromir Jagrs. I'll say that
for sure. I mean, I think he still probably could suit up in the NHL and play a couple of games. I think he probably could.
A couple shifts, yeah.
I think he probably could. Yeah. He went. He went to Calgary. He went to Dallas. He went to Florida. He went to the Devils. Who else did he go to? I forget off the top of my head.
I'm pretty sure he played in Philly. I think.
Philly. Yep.
I think he had a cup of coffee for y'all.
Yep. Yeah, he did. So crazy.
Everywhere.
Speaking of the Devils, take it away, Captain, for the last empty net there.
Timo Meier wore number 96 when he came over in the trade last year, and I guess some people are happy about this because of 96 being close to Jack's 86, but he's switching to number 28. Sivo's gone, so the 28 became open. So Timo's going to switch back to number 28. And instead of just it being just a story that gets kind of swept under the rug, he's just switching his number. He's switching back to number 28, and they're offering anybody who bought number 96 a 28% discount on a new sweater. But also, for the first couple weeks of the season, anybody who buys the number 28 sweater, he's also going to donate. I can't remember to whom. Yeah, 28%. I can't remember to whom, but he's going to donate to a charity. And
it's essentially it's hockey in New Jersey. So
that's right.
Hockey in New Jersey. Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome. That tells me everything I want to know about Timo Meier. Like, obviously, I hope he produces on the ice, but like we got a good one, and he's geeked to be here and playing for us. Like, he didn't just sign the contract to get the money and because we might win. He did it because he wants to be in New Jersey, and I don't know, man. It's really exciting. I love that. And I hope that leads to big numbers for my man this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that's just being involved with the community outreach, all that stuff, which is exactly what, hockey needs, because the league sure as heck isn't going to grow the league. So the players really do have to kind of take it, I think, under their own devices to grow the league, because the league's not going to grow the league, as we've seen, like, I don't want to be negative about it, but it's true, So, but an act like this, like, that's awesome, because a guy that doesn't live in New Jersey, I mean, he does now, I'm sure he has a place, but he's not from Jersey. You know what I mean? He came over essentially because he had to. We'll just say that, right? But he's willing to put himself into the community, submit himself into the community. Like, okay, I'm here. Let's go. I play hockey here, but I want to do good for this community. Like, that's, speaking of good humans, that's a good human.
That's a good human, man. And I'm glad we got him. And like I said, I hope it translates on ice, but even if it doesn't, number 28 might have just shot up. I still need a 13. I still need an 86. I still need a 91, but 28 is up there.
So. 28 is a top six. Well, that does it this week. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we're done with our over and unders. We're done with the Would You Rathers, but we are a week out from the preseason starting. So next week we will be doing some season predictions, maybe some bold predictions, and I will cover what I think is a superstar and what is mediocre at best. So you know the drill. You've been listening to the Barn Chirpers. Chirp us at Barn Chirpers Pod. Like, subscribe, 5-star, quick little rating. It'll take you 30 seconds, please, and thank you. And with nothing else, stick taps and sellies, boys. Clap it up.
Clap it up. And end the recording. Boom.